Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. What's going on, folks? How are you doing at home? It's Wednesday, so many people might be feeling like it's hump day, but as we say in the morning meetup, I don't know what we say in the morning meetup. Hump yay. So today we have a really good conversation. We have a conversation with a transformational coach, but this isn't just normal. This is going to be both physically transforming and mentally transforming. And so since my guest is already in here, I'm going to go ahead and let him in so we can get started. Get locked and loaded. I need you guys to say one single thing. What's going on, Ebony? Ebony Alexis. What it do? What it do,
What's good?
Jesse?
What's good?
How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Pretty good. You know I'm excited for this conversation.
That's great. I'm not as excited as I am. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, I speak to a lot of, as a career coach, I talk to a lot of coaches and consultants and people who are in the career coaching space, but we often don't talk about things that feed me as a physical. I'm really, really big on like physical health, working out, fitness, yoga, and things like that. So one, I'm really excited to hear your philosophy and how you help people transition and make their journey. And then we also want to get into your career journey to learn a little bit about how you made your transitions.
Sure, for sure. Absolutely. No, well, again, I appreciate it. I'm here to be open and honest, and hopefully I can inspire and help anybody out there that's looking to make that transition into entrepreneurship in any form of fashion. So thank you.
But you said the O word, open. So perfect. So before we get into the conversation, would you mind introducing yourself to the folks?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So my name is Jesse Jewel Thomas III, right? And I like to put emphasis on it because it means something to me. I am a transformation coach. So I help individuals get from point A to point B as fast as possible. I like to help individuals transform their body, their mind, and their pocketbooks. I work with a lot of athletes in my process of getting here, but ultimately, I'm just an all-around coach. So again, if you're looking to just lose weight, get in better health, better shape, for a mental or physical journey, or you're trying to be a top-notch, high-level athlete, I'm your guy.
Yes, sir. Now, what sparks my interest immediately is you going from mind, body, and financially. So, as you started your business and your company specifically, what made you tie in those three? I love threes. So, what made you tie in those three into the transformation that you provide?
Um, so Obviously it's always been the physical, right? Everybody, when they come to me initially, is looking to transform their body, right? They wanna look better, they wanna feel better, they wanna perform better. But in doing like a real transformation, I've learned over years that at first it starts with the mind. Like you have to have a strong mindset because the road is never easy. There's always going to be some kind of hurdles, some kind of bumps in the road. So developing a strong mindset and understanding like the difference between motivation and determination and consistency, I think is key. So I try to focus on that with individuals. Obviously, we're going to transform the body over this process. And then what I've learned over the years of becoming an entrepreneur and, just the daily grind is the more confidence you have in yourself, your body, your image, your brand, it usually translates into business and your pocketbooks. Being able to sell, being able to speak highly and be confident, walking into a room and feeling good, feeling sexy, it helps the pocketbook.
Facts. Now, you speak into the basics, which is what I appreciate. You speak into the basics, such as consistency, the things that you actually put into your mind and how they actually make you a better entrepreneur. But you're super duper ripped. So I'm a little bit curious about your fitness journey. Have you always been into fitness, or how did you get into fitness?
I've always been in the sports. Growing up as a kid, I played everything under the sun. And I started off slow though. And I remember I was young. I was about seventh grade, and it was the first time that I was like, I don't want to be the chubby little kid anymore. I want to be the guy who scores the touchdowns and has the cheerleaders, cheering for me. So that was my first kind of motivation as far as like working out. I have a sister, but she's 14 years older than me. So I grew up the only child. So I spent a lot of time by myself, and that was like the start of like, all right, I'm gonna go across the street and start running and doing pull-ups in my basement and push-ups and whatever I could. And it really kind of just took off from there. I played, football was kind of my main sport. I went to college and played football. I played professionally in arena level for a little bit. And I've always known that. And I went to school. I got my degree in I got degree in physical education with a business minor. It was a sports management concentration. And I got my PT certification while in college as well. So fitness and working out, being in the gym, getting better for football, trying to become a better athlete has always been a part of my life. So I went that route. There was the football. Once I got done with football, I had a lull that really hit me for a minute, and that's where the whole transformation thing comes, because myself as a collegiate athlete, all I had to do was play ball. I showed up, I went to the gym, I played ball, I ate whatever I wanted, and I still looked good, I still felt good, this and that. But when I stopped playing football and I still kept eating like that college kid that I was, that's when the weight started coming on. I had a job where I was behind a desk, or this and that, and I had to learn how to really take nutrition serious and get back into that.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I've always been the guy who I can't stay still. So football was done. I got back into fitness. It's like, what's next? So, I started doing the American Ninja Warrior stuff when that was kind of hot when it first came out. I got into martial arts, and then I got into bodybuilding, which I'm currently still doing.
I love it. Can we get into that first transition? So I know this probably happens among all of your clients. And even for myself, there was a period of time where I was not really fit at all. I remember my dad asking me like, you gonna get into any like high school sports? Cause, you get a little chunky. And I think my relationship with fitness and my father's, transparently kind of was shaped by like, okay, so I subconsciously got into fitness. And for me, my identity has always in some form of fashion been wrapped up in my physical like look, right? So when you went from like, sports athlete, football into this period where you weren't looking so good, you talk about the uptick where you got back into bodybuilding, but what was it like looking at yourself in that moment where you're like, hey, I no longer identify with myself? Or did you have those thoughts?
Oh, I had it. And, that's why I feel like I can relate to a lot of my clients, because there was that period. And, it's funny. It's usually the smallest things. Well, for me, it feels like the smallest things that kind of get me. For some reason, I went to this pool party, and again, because of the way I looked at the time, I wasn't happy with who I was. And we all have our different deals, right? Everybody has their struggle. So, somebody might look at me and be like, oh, you're fine. But for me, I knew what it was like to be an athlete with a six-pack and be a collegiate athlete who can move, and now being, 45, 50 pounds overweight and not having that, I was embarrassed. I was, down on myself. I didn't like taking pictures. I didn't want to take my shirt off and get in the pool. So,
Right.
walking around this pool party, I had a towel over me that kind of draped over my chest and my stomach, and I held it there the whole time. I remember that vividly. And there was an old friend of mine that came up to me, and she was like, hey, Jesse, like, what's up, man? Like, I thought you were a trainer. And that's all she said. That's all she needed to say, because I knew exactly what she meant by that. It was like, how did you let yourself go? Like, I thought you were like doing your thing. And that was the gut punch that I needed, that I was like, all right, it's time to kick this thing into gear and figure this nutrition piece out. So yeah, it's a feeling that a lot of people have. Many people have. They don't know where to go. They once before they were fit, or they looked good, back when they were younger and their metabolism was going fine. But when you grow up, things start to slow down, and you get that job where you're sitting behind that desk and you're not moving as much, and then all of a sudden you're back and now you're overweight and you don't know what to do. It's a feeling that a lot of folks suffer with.
Absolutely. And when you get in that position, it's like, even with the gut punch, I think a lot of people, it's just like it's like January of the first of the year, right? Everybody gets that punch and they're like, I got to get to it. But then there's always something that gets them started, but then makes them quit. So I'm thinking, you're in this position, you realize, okay, I got to get my stuff together, but you're looking at this high incline. You're looking at this incline. Sorry, I just got a call. You're looking at an incline, and you're at the bottom. You're like, how do I get started? For your clients, even for yourself, what are you thinking to get yourself up the hill or over the hill?
Right. So a motto that we stand by in my gym is win the day. Right. Take it day by day. It's tougher than it sounds, of course, but if you just look at it by like, I'm gonna win every day, I have a checklist. I know what I need to do, right? I need to go to the gym. I need to maybe get 30 minutes of walking in. I need to eat, at least 4 out of 5 healthy meals a day. Check them off, right? Make that list. And if you win that day and you consistently win that day, you're going to win in life. But eventually you're going to get there. Some people's transition happens faster than others. That's really it. I think that's where people get caught up because they look at the top of the hill. They look at, oh my God, it's a daunting task losing 50, 60, 70, 100 plus pounds. It is. It is a daunting task, right? But you have to trust the process and you have to take it day by day. And I think obviously that's one thing that I had on my side is that I knew what hard work was like. Being a collegiate athlete, I knew how to get back into the gym. For me, the mental aspect for me was the nutrition. I had to learn that and I had to stick by that. So that was my fight with it.
So what was your thing? You had to change your relationship with food?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Before that point, I was the guy that I probably was at McDonald's 4 out of 7 days a week. If not more than that, for lunch, I was there because a McChicken and a double cheeseburger was a lot cheaper than me going to get a salad from anywhere. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So,
and you had the sports physique. You were in like, sports, and you could actually taking those type of calories and it had like zero effect on your body.
exactly. So for me, it wasn't no thing. Like I didn't know. I'm just eating and I'm good. Like I didn't know. So you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So I had to get a coach, even though I was a certified personal trainer at that time. Right, you learn the basics about nutrition going through a PT training, but unless you go to like nutritional, like become a nutritionist or something like that, then there's no really deep diving into it. So as a coach, I had to hire a coach to help me figure out nutrition and understand nutrition better. And, in doing that and then getting into bodybuilding later, I really was able to get a good scope on what nutrition is and what it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you coming in. Listen, if you feeling motivated right now, young Wild said he's feeling motivated right now off of our energy. So I say go ahead, do something with you. Y'all could be running on the treadmill while we having this conversation, right?
That's it, baby. That's it. What
Yeah.
up, young
So
Bob? What up, bro?
what's going on? Thank y'all for
Hey,
joining.
put it right
So
now. What's happening?
yes. Hey, Dream Builder, stand up. Come on
Yeah,
in.
we got coach in the building.
Yes. So now we kind of have a foundation of your mindset and how you develop your fitness, your fitness identity, kind of transition from that sports identity to like doing it because you want to feel good and doing it because you want to be a better you on like physically and mentally. But the way you explain your philosophy, which is take it a day at a time, that's the best advice, even in your journey into entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
Like, man. So as I think about your story, I'm trying to figure out, where did you start in your career? Did you start as an entrepreneur or did you start as an employee?
I started as an employee, right? So when I got out of college and in the football transition, I had an internship with a company called Athletic Republic. So there at the time they were, I want to say they were world leading sports franchise. I don't know if they no longer if they are or whatever still, but so that's how I got into it. As far as the workforce, I got my internship with them. They hired me on full time while actually I was still in college. So I was working with them for a while. And then I uprooted my family. We moved back home. And then I got a PT job with which is still good, a mentor of mine. It's a gym called Bar None Training here in my hometown. But my wife was actually getting she was pregnant with twins. So at that point, I had to make a decision. Well, can I still continue to follow my dreams and do this, or give me a 9 to 5, put on a suit and tie and support my family? And that's the route that I went. Just my dad. That's the life he had. That was like, there's no way that I could foresee myself banking on being a personal trainer and taking care of a family. So I went that route. I trained a little bit on the side during those years, but I moved quickly up the corporate ladder. And I was doing that for 7 years.
Can I ask
So
you a question though?
yeah,
How did you rationalize going back into corporate when you had a bit of a taste of what it felt like to be an entrepreneur? I know you said like you were raised to know about a job, but how did you rationalize, let me go into, well, actually you just said it, you had a family. And
that
I
was it.
Yeah, I think as a
Yeah.
single woman, I oftentimes, I think about the decisions that we make, and I consider like my clients are like I have two clients who are married, and so oftentimes I think about that struggle of making a decision that's for you versus making a decision for your family. So when
Right.
you start to think about like deep down into that process, that decision making process, how do you prioritize like your dreams, what you're good at versus like and your wife, what she's good at and what's like what the family needs. How do you process that like categorize that, bodybuilder, coach, and husband and just man?
Yeah. My family, they come first, right? So if this whole gym thing didn't work out, if it wasn't working out, if it wasn't paying the bills, then I would shut it down. I would shut it down and I would go back into sales and do something that I had to do because that's what I know. I come from a family that, the fathers were around, they stuck around, even if they didn't want, like they took care of the kids, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I just know that instinctually, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a supporter. I come from a family of supporters, right? Financially, like we're gonna figure it out, right? So that was at that time, that was the mindset. And the fear was as a personal trainer, right? You gotta build your own book of business, you gotta get clients, you gotta, do all these unknown things. You don't know when the next paycheck is really gonna come unless you have a consistent book of business. So
Mm-hmm.
it was like in my mind, I just couldn't fathom supporting the family and doing that. So I had to put it aside. And I also felt confident that I could climb that ladder. I can make good money. I could be a boss in the corporate world. So I
Okay.
was chasing a paycheck and it was working. But then I found out that it wasn't my passion. There was no purpose in my life other than making money and supporting my family, which are all great things, but it ain't the end of the world. You know what I mean? Like it's not, I don't think what you should live for.
Yeah, I was just having a conversation. I went live and I had a conversation earlier that day about finding our purpose and finding our passion. And the truth about the purpose and passion, even when you have a 9 to 5, becoming aware of your passion and your purpose, sometimes it can be a bit inconveniencing, right? You're like, yo, dang, this passion that came out, but I got a family to take care of.
Yeah.
So when you, first of all, what was your passion that you realized when you still had your 9 to 5?
So I got into the bodybuilding piece. So that was again what I'm doing right now. So about 5, 6 years ago, I kind of got into the bodybuilding piece, and it really started to consume me, and it got me, even deeper back into the gym, working out, and seeing my transformation within that. I just had this thrill, and then of course, posting pictures and people following my journey. They wanted to, know if I was back into training, know if I was, willing to train them and this and that. So I started taking on some people. And then, there was just, to be completely honest with you, in the corporate world, I was doing really well. I had my first 4 years, I was in the rental department. Then I got transitioned over into leasing. I worked for a leasing company, big enterprise, rent a car. They have a whole leasing division. So I work with all kind of CEOs and this and that. But long story short, for the first 4 years of being in that, or excuse me, 3 years of being in that division, I was a top salesman in the office. And
Mm.
6 months after that, where my numbers weren't what they should have been or what the company was used to. And it was one of those things of like, what have you done for me lately? Right. And I started feeling all this tension and this heat, and they started coming up with company car and this and that nobody ever had any, they didn't care where I went or what I did as long as I was selling. But when my numbers came down, it's,
They checking
hey,
in like,
exactly. Yo, what's up? And it was just one thing after another. And I just started to really dislike the people I was working with. I started to really dislike the job. And I can remember where it really came down to was like, I started to dislike Saturdays because I would think about Sunday, because I was like, when it's Sunday, all I'm gonna think about is going to work on Monday. And I hated work, right? I hated going to work. So I was like, I gotta make a change. I gotta do something. And it probably would have even been going to another company in the corporate
Mm-hmm.
world if it wasn't for the support of my wife. You know, she actually was the one that was like, "Hey, why don't you just go ahead and just try it and see what happens?" So that's what happened.
That's what happened. So your wife was on board. I was going to ask you, how did you set expectations with your wife? So you had that level of communication with your wife. And then when it came to like when you knew what you had to do and your wife was on board, did you have like some formal exit strategy that included like finances and things like that? Or what did you do to plan your exit?
No, to be honest, I didn't. It probably isn't the smartest thing in the world. 1 second, I'm sorry, my phone is actually dying. Let me plug this in. There we go.
Got you.
All right,
Got you.
cool. Yeah, we there wasn't I'm sorry, now I messed up the camera angle. We good? Nope.
Here we go.
My
We good.
bad.
We can still hear this story. Yeah.
There we go. So yes, I apologize about that. The transition there wasn't much time in the decision that I made to make the move. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I was fortunate enough that at that time, I had made really good money with Enterprise. We had a good little nest set aside. I had a really good 401k that, I was vested in since I was already with the company for 7, almost 8 years. So I was able to pull money from the 401k, which I didn't want to do, but I needed to.
Yeah.
And again, with the savings that we had set aside, I thought that would be enough. It wasn't quite enough. The first couple of years, obviously getting off the ground, it took some time. So, luckily I had good credit. I had some credit cards that I was able to use and help fund me to get where I needed to be and to get to this point today.
Yeah. Okay. So, and your journey sounds a little bit like mine. Like I knew what I needed to have in order to leave. I had the normal like 6 months salary, like that kind of stuff to figure out, okay, so when can I actually leave my job? But then I
Mhm.
also realized there's some indicators that I needed to think about in the road to entrepreneurship. So
Yeah.
for you, what was it that you needed to have in place in order to feel comfortable with your leap? And then looking back on it, what would you add to that list?
Again, I had a few clients going already, so that made me kind of feel comfortable. Once I found I started doing some research and I found a home, that I could call, I found a gym that I could call home that I knew that when I left I could go to and I could facilitate, and fulfill my clients' needs. So looking at what are our monthly expenses, what do I need to break even, right? That's really always
Hmm.
my concern. Like again, taking care of the fam. Can I keep the lights on? The refrigerator full, clothes on everybody's back. As long as
Yeah.
I, continue the lifestyle that we currently live, then let's rock. And again, we had enough savings up. Well, I thought we had enough savings up. So
Hey guys, can you guys still hear me or was it
hello,
Jesse? Okay, I
that
can
was
see you now,
you with me?
Jesse.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, sir.
My phone is acting, I don't know, ridiculous. My
We good.
apologies.
We gonna get this story. I don't care what it takes.
Yeah. So yeah, no. So I think again, having a plan of, all right, this is how much I need every month. This is how many clients I have right now, right? How many more do I need to get? What price point do I need to have? So I make sure every month that we break even. And then we have enough.
Hmm.
Like how long can this last us? Now I probably should have went a little bit longer. I probably should have stacked a little bit more, so I didn't have to touch those credit cards. But things in life happen. Unforeseen things happen along the path where say AC breaks down and this and that. I can't remember the time, but there was always big stuff that was the case. I wasn't never charging a credit card for little stuff, but there was things that happened along the road that I wish I would have had a little bit extra bread set aside for the unknowns. But yeah.
Yeah. I got you. So when you became an entrepreneur, and you mentioned seeking out a coach previously, and I think I associated that first coach that you said to like a fitness coach. Is that pretty much where you were going with that?
A nutritional coach.
Nutritional coach.
Because I was already a fitness coach myself. I know the gym inside and out. At that point, still, I've
Mm-hmm.
been in the gym all my life playing sports, and I got certified in college. So at that point, I was already good with the gym. It's the nutrition piece that I didn't have a ton of knowledge about. Just like everybody, I can ask anybody, what should you be eating? Somebody will tell me chicken and rice and this and that, but knowing exactly like how much, how many carbs, how many fats, how much protein, how many calories should I consume every day. I didn't know that stuff particularly. So just learning that and learning that carbs aren't always your friend. And figuring the little stuff out like that. So I hired somebody to teach me that stuff, and that was a game changer for me.
Facts. Okay, so because you have a good relationship with coaching, because I think you do everything. What you do or how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so because you're open to finding a coach to help you level up in your nutrition game, and we're both in the Dream Builder Nation, so we're not like strangers to coaching and stuff like that. I'm curious, how long did you do entrepreneurship by yourself before you sought out a new coach?
Well, for a long time before I sought out a paid coach. I think I mentioned earlier that I have a good mentor here. The gentleman who gave me my first job when I moved back to Kansas City, we're still good friends. We talk almost every day. I spoke to him yesterday. He's been running his own gym for 12 years. So he's got a lot more knowledge on the do's and don'ts, and a lot of the don'ts. So I get,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll tell me. So I had him in my pocket for free for a long time, which was a blessing. It still is.
Got you. You got a free mentor for free. Now,
Yeah.
when was this? What year was this?
Oh, so I I went full time into training 6 years ago. 2020. That was, geez, what is it? 2021. So yeah,
Yeah.
2015, 2016 is when I hopped in and went all in again.
Okay, so you went in 2016. You found a free mentor, which does not, just so that folks can know, like free
Nah, nah.
mentorship is not available to a lot of us out here.
Yeah. It's not whether you pay for it or whether you know somebody. I truly believe in mentorship and one, having a mentor and then being a mentor. Like, because there's always going to be somebody who is a couple steps below you, and you just teaching them game is going to help you elevate yours, right? Make at least help,
Mm-hmm.
like, keep in mind the things that you should be doing.
Yeah.
Because I'll get it. My young trainers that ask me for advice, and I'll be like, dang, I need to actually get back to doing that myself. You know what I mean? Like, I'll think of something to give them, a gym to give them, and I'll be like, man, you dropped the ball on that. You need to get back on that. So, yeah, having a mentor and being a mentor, I think is key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was probably, I think maybe 2 years ago when I actually spent some big money to get some more coaching advice. When I actually took over my brick and mortar gym. So
When you took on that coach, what specifically was it that you were looking to like gain? So that like when you paid your investment, what were you looking to get out of that?
Um, I mean, obviously, I was hoping it would have a good ROI, right? I want to return on my
Oh,
investment.
financially,
So,
absolutely.
exactly, financially. So, I was looking for the tricks and tools in the game. Like, I was looking for the systems to put in place so my business can run, smoothly. I was looking for the marketing piece of the business. And I was just looking for any gems that I can get, but I was looking for it from somebody who's done it. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
a proven coach that I'm like, all right, I'm coachable. I know that. I've been playing ball all my life, been in sports all my life. I've had other coaches in my life. If I see and I know that you've done it and I can trust that you know what you're talking about, I'm gonna trust the process, and I'm all,
Mm.
whatever you tell me to do, whatever words tell it says, all right, Jesse, this is what we're gonna do. It's like, all right, bro, I'm gonna do it. Fine, let's go. No matter how I feel about it, I might, not be confident about it myself, but I'm confident in what they've done already. So I'm gonna run that play, and we're gonna see what happens.
Facts. I'm shaking my head vigorously because I'm thinking about like trusting the process. I remember the first time I invested $1,500 in a course, and you know our investment is way more than that now.
Yeah.
But
Right.
but when I invested that money, I started getting heart palpitations, and I talk about this all the time. I started getting heart palpitations. So what I started to do is write down little affirmations like that I can remind myself of why I spent the money. Because for me, after I spend the money, I start second guessing the process. Not that there is anything that they said to make me second guess the process, but in my mind, I start thinking, okay, do I need to call Chase and like refund this money real quick?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I started. Go ahead.
Everybody does it, and I think that's why it's so big. Sorry about the talking. It's so big. That's why when I talk about mindset, I think it's the first thing that you gotta talk to and speak on when you get new clients of any form of fashion, right? And when anybody buys into your program or they want to work with you, because everybody has that initial kind of doubt, right? Even if they after they purchase it, they're like, man, is this the right move? Should I done this? Is this dude gonna be legit? Is she gonna really tell me what I need to hear? So just putting their ease, put them at ease, telling them what to expect and what the process is and what to know. It helps anybody. And now that you mentioned that 1,500 one, so 2 years ago I put in a pretty big, a few grand, but even I would say maybe it's two years prior to that, the first one that I kind of spent some money on was, I had the free mentor, but I spent $300 on an online program to teach me how to create an online program.
Okay.
And at that time, again, I'm still racking up. I'm running the credit cards. I'm in this thing. So $300, I'm still in my head about $300. Like, oh no, like, but it was one of the best things I could have done because I learned that if I just do it, like she
Mm-hmm.
could have gave me half of the stuff she could have gave me could have been BS. But if I was just like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it work, and that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take this information and I'm going to make it work and I'm going to run this play and I'm at least get my $300 back. And I'm getting a lot more than that. And it ended up creating another foundation for me. So it was good.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're giving me flashbacks right now. So when I think about trusting the process, that's definitely one of those affirmations that I wrote down. And you're the man. You're a man that's similar to me. It's like if I trust you, then I go ahead and I relinquish. I take my hands off the wheel and I do what I'm supposed to do. Right. So you mentioned in your process, mindfulness and mindset development is your recommendation for any program. So I would assume that's your program as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious about one, your development, as well as how you have taken this learning and implemented it into your program. So as we fill in the gap, we say trust the process. And I know still there are clients out there who are like, I don't know, like I'm still trying to become an entrepreneur. I don't know what that means. I'm going to try to trust the process. We gave them a little bit about mindset. Can you help us understand what were some of the things in your like journey that helped you develop that you didn't even know you needed to develop as an entrepreneur?
Self development, right? Just um, diving into self-development books, kind of motivational video. And I know as cheesy as it may sound, this and that, but like watching some motivational videos when you wake up, it just does something, it helps you stay out of that funk and hopefully stay productive and think about, all right, everybody grinding, I need to get on mine. I need to
Mm.
be moving. But really, again, just building confidence. I think finding something, again, whether it's Tony Robbins or watching, social proof podcasts and seeing other people being successful. Who else is out there? Ash Cash, like
Earn your leisure.
exactly. Learn your leisure. Like,
Mm-hmm.
watching other folks do it, it's like, man, I can do it too, right? And I think that's what
Yeah.
everybody, it's that self-belief and that self-worth. So I talk about that a lot, like finding that and trusting in yourself and believing, because I truly believe that anybody, if you just put your mind to it, whether it's transforming your body or transforming, your life in a form of fashion, whether, again, getting out of that 9 to 5 to become an entrepreneur or, starting your own business, like you can do it. You just got to sit down and do the work. You got to believe that you can do it. And most people, they never get started, right? They
Facts.
never get started because of fear. And somebody told me, it's saying like, fear kills more dreams than doubt ever will. Excuse me, than failure ever will, right? So people just being fearful and never getting started, they killing their dreams already, right? They never even gave it a shot.
Listen, take it. You literally just killed the whole thing with that one. Just getting started.
Yeah. So it's big. I think that's the big one, is just taking action. A lot of people, they're just fearful of taking action. They come up with all kind of excuses in their head. The other thing too is, again, it comes down to, believing in yourself, the belief. When people have an idea, when they want to do something, immediately what typically they do is they go to people around them and they tell them about this idea. And if there's one person that doesn't quite vibe with that idea, it's going to kind of simmer that idea down for you a little bit. It's going to kill that dream a little bit. And then you ask another person, if they don't have the same excitement, your excitement goes down as well. But that doesn't
Come
mean
on.
that idea. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't run that play. That just means they shouldn't run that play. So even getting out of that mind frame, you know what I mean? Unless you're going to spend a ton of money, like, yes, ask a credible source, ask your mentor or mentee, mentor, excuse me. But don't just go around asking random strangers who aren't in your industry, who never made a play like that, who've never done anything like that, because they're going to give you their doubts. They're going to tell you no because they're fearful. So,
Facts.
yeah.
I can't do nothing but co-sign that. One of the things that helped me quit my job was listening to Les Brown, Jim Rohn, and E.T. on repeat. I did a little bit of Tony Robbins, but
Yeah.
on repeat. As soon as I wake up in the morning,
Right.
I'm like, oh, I got E.T.'s words in my mind. I'm just like following the process, just trusting it. And
Yeah.
also trusting myself, because the thing that Les Brown says that I always resonate with is like, do you want to let your dreams die inside of you?
Mm,
Like that right there, and I'm gonna get started.
right.
I'm gonna trust the process. That right there, it does help me when I tell my mom, or not just my mom, but like anyone, a dream, and they haven't necessarily seen it. Then it just helps you remind yourself, like, hey, let's get grounded, because you'll tell someone something that you want to achieve, and they don't necessarily understand it, and it makes you feel like, dang, am I doing this right? But like you said, listening to motivational speech, it helps you not only exercise that mental muscle,
Right.
but you can do that while you exercise your physical muscle as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've in the last couple of years, I've switched gears to, which is still kind of hard for me, even hard to think about, is I'm a big music guy. Like, I love my music. I was always up to date with what's the latest stuff coming out. And on Fridays when it dropped, I was in the gym listening to it when I'm pumping iron. But it's hard for me to get away listening to podcasts now, listening to motivational stuff now when I work out. It's a different kind of motivation, different kind of pump, but I rather just always try to learn something new, always try to figure out something that's going to spark me for the next, best thing, the greatest thing, and to level up. So I'm really big on, as I'm driving, as long as, if I'm by myself, especially, I'm putting on a podcast or something like that rather than turning on the radio.
Thanks. I love it. I love it. So, coach, as a coach, you are building. You are no stranger to coaching. You've received your coaching, and you coach other people. So I'm curious, how, as you move forward in this space of like fitness and transformations and physical, mental, and financial transformations, what are some things that you are working to grow in yourself and that you're focusing on growing in your clients moving forward?
In myself, that is a great question. That is a great question. So for myself, and I think it's just I want to continue the journey that I'm currently on, which is, again, self-development and
Mm-hmm.
my belief process of how far I can go, how far I can level up. Because coming from where I came from, I'm not in a huge market, huge city. I grew up in the hood. Like, you don't see many people riding around in, Lamborghinis or Rolls Royces, Wraiths, this and that, like you may see in Atlanta or other places. You don't see the black folk actually shining and making money unless they're on TV. So I never thought that I could be a millionaire. I never thought that I could get on the level where I could drive those cars. I never thought that I could have that type of success, because I didn't see it. I didn't think it was feasible for someone like myself.
Mm.
But now building that belief that it's not if, it's just when. Like I'm on that road, I'm on that path. It's just only a matter of time. I keep chunking away at it, and it's gonna happen. So I'm just gonna kind of continue to build on myself and build, and learn more about every aspect of my industry, and take it from there.
And take it from there. And for your clients, since you're pushing yourself to be your best self, what are you pushing your clients to do in the year 2020 and 2022?
Yeah, absolutely. The same thing, right? I always push my clients to be better than they were the day before. So again, we take it day by day. And I want them to be happy. Like, and that's the other thing for me is that, the money is cool, but seeing my clients win is so satisfying, right? It's, when you talk about purpose, when you talk about passion, like it's it. It's like a big payday when a client sends me a message like, oh, I can fit in this dress now. I've had it in the dresser for 2 years.